Alright, so triangle sum theorem. This is one that you guys already know and you use a lot. What do you know about the angles inside of a triangle? That's the triangle sum theorem. So angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle 3 equals 180. So that's going to be what we use a lot on this next one, and we also use this a lot throughout the year when we're again finding missing angles. There is a second theorem that I believe you've learned before also, but if not, we're going to go over it. And it's called the exterior angle theorem. You guys know this one?
Yeah.
What's this one?
I don't know it. I just remember it.
I know how to do it.
How do you do it?
Well, we need to figure out angle 1 and 2.
Okay.
First, and then you subtract it from 180.
Okay.
You get the third one, and then you subtract that from 180 for number 3.
Okay.
And 1 and 2 and subtract it from 3.
Okay. All of those are really close. Okay. The exterior angle theorem says that an angle that's on the outside, so angle 3, is going to be equal to the sum of what we call the remote interior. So in other words, not the adjacent one to the outside angle, but the other two. Add those two together and it'll equal 3. So angle 1 plus angle 2 will equal angle 3. And then if you wanted to know the other inside angle for the triangle, so if let's call this 4, how could we find angle 4? We can actually find angle 4 using the triangle sum, do 180 minus the two angles we already know. Okay, but these are the two theorems, the triangle sum and the exterior angle theorem, that you're going to want to look for and use in this next assignment. So again, we're going to do 3 examples here, just to make sure we're okay on it. And in all of these, we're going to be finding certain variables. So this first one we're going to find x, or solve for x, because x isn't lost, we're just solving for it. So on this one, I know 2 angles on the inside and I'm looking for the third. So I'm going to take what I know they should equal. So 180 should equal the sum of all 3. So if I add together the 2 that I know and subtract from 180, I get that our missing angle is 70. Okay, another way I know some people like to do these is they'll just do 180 and subtract what they know. That's the same equation, just with the 50 and 60 already moved to the other side. I'm not going to be picky about which way you do it because they're both correct. Okay, the second one that I want to go over is one where we have 2 triangles with an adjacent side or sharing a side. And we're going to find x, y, and z. Anyone see a place where we can start? Chase?
You can start by finding y by adding 27 and 43.
Okay, so Chase notices that y is the exterior angle to this triangle. So if we add 27 plus 43, we'll get what y equals. Okay, that's a start. Anyone see how we might be able to build off of that or go about something else? Rosemary? Okay, Maddie, you can say that a little louder. Y and x are adjacent angles. So they're also a linear pair, which means what? They add up to 180. So we can do 180 minus 70 to get x. So that means x would equal 110. Now what about z? How can we find poor little z? Rosemary?
Isn't it parallel to y?
We don't know anything's parallel. And the only reason I would say no to Pythagorean theorem is we don't know if we have a 90-degree angle anywhere. Pythagorean theorem, we have to know what's a right angle somewhere. So I'm going to write on our picture what we know. So we know y is 70 and we know x is 110. Jill, what are you saying?
Oh, I thought it was how we add 3 to make it equal to 1, and we already know that y is 70.
Okay, so we're going to use triangle sum. We know 2 of our angles already. We're trying to find the third. So if we take the 3 angles, 60, 70, plus z, we know it has to add up to 180. So we get 130 plus z equals 180. Subtract, and we get z is equal to 50. Could we have done it differently? Yes. So when you're looking at these, this was one way to do this. It's all going to depend on what you see first. In the last class I had, they actually started by finding x using triangle sum theorem. So they did 180 minus 27 minus 43. They got 110 that way, and then they did the supplementary, and then they did triangle sum again. So just know that there's more than one way to look at these. So if you see one way and somebody else sees another, that's okay. Okay, any questions on that one before we go on to our last one? Okay, so our last one here . How can we find x? Robert?
98 plus 21.
X is going to equal 98 plus 21, so we'd get 119. Okay, that one was just using the exterior. Now, one thing I did want to touch on with this one, because I realized a little too late after I wrote these. What if, instead of giving you that angle, we call this, let's call it y, and instead of having not knowing that one, I tell you that that one's 100. How would we be able to solve for y? Robert?
The 180 minus 100, and to get your third one.
So that would get us this one?
Yeah.
Okay. But how would that help us find y?
80 plus 21 minus 180.
Okay, so that's one way, but you can also use that exterior angle theorem. because you know that 21 plus y would have to equal 100. So then y would have to equal 79. So you can use this exterior angle theorem if you know the outside and you're looking for one of the remote interior. You can use it to go either way. Okay, but yes, you could also do the supplementary and then the triangle sum. That works too. But I just wanted to point this out because sometimes we always forget that we can do it the other way to find an inside angle. So don't forget, you can do that.